Sunshine's stories of how the trail impacted her life were one of the reasons I started my own hike. Now that I was actually on the trail, she would sometimes join me when she could get off work for a few days. Most of the time I was hiking alone though, as I made my way steadily north towards the border of my home state, North Carolina. One thing Sunshine had told me to expect was quickly proving true. The people you met on the trail were the best part of it. Their stories, their unique reasons for being out there, the shared struggle and experience all added richness to the journey. It was as though we traveled in a small orbit, receiving whispers and news about each other, even when we weren't hiking together. Although we'd started early in the year, when there weren't many people on the trail, it didn't take long to find a small circle of friends that I wanted to stick close to.
I thought a lot about what my trail name should be. I started planning for this actual trip a year ago on my birthday last March, and Last Chance kept coming back to me because over the past 40 years there were two other times when I really wanted to do the thru-hike and ended up not being able to do it. And so this time I figured it's my last chance. I get frustrated by some thru-hikers that blow by me, and then I realize, well, they're 40 years younger than I am. What I came out here to do is to love this opportunity and adventure, and to take my time and enjoy everything that I see and hear. My brother Jeff, he was my hiking partner. We always wanted to do a thru-hike, and we always talked about it. And unfortunately, in 2004, my brother passed away from a brain aneurysm, and we never got that opportunity. And so I'm carrying his memory and his strength with me, and his spirit. He was the one that had the spirit, and whenever I would get down on a hike, he was the one who always could lift me up. And he's lifted me up many times already on this hike.
Among the other people I met along the way, there was Mott, the 59-year-old doctor who retired from his practice one day and started hiking the next. And also Maggie and TK, two friends from Connecticut who always slept in but hiked fast throughout the day to reach the shelter first. We kept company and encouraged each other when the days got long and we felt like tiny bugs in the landscape.
Keeping your head down and trying hard.
By our third week on the trail, we were drawing close to the Great Smoky Mountains, a 71-mile monolith rising out of the North Carolina landscape. They contain the highest peaks on the Appalachian Trail and can present some real difficulties in cold weather. We walked into the Smokies one Friday morning in early March, just as a winter storm was blowing in.
Some things never change. Now she's gone. She took the kids and the van and the neighbor man.
So in the early episodes of this series, we made a big deal out of reducing your pack weight, eliminating non-essential items of gear so that you're carrying less on the trail. Once you've worked out what your backpacking kit is, it's really very important to know how to put that in your pack so that the load is distributed well and so that it fits well on your body. These steps are sort of backpacking 101, but if you're intentional about them, they'll make a big difference in how the load is carried and how it feels on your body. So that's what we're going to talk about in this gear spotlight. So in terms of how you pack your pack, there are two main things you want to keep in mind. The first being distribution of weight, and the second being ease of access to your gear. Now in terms of distributing the weight in your pack, you want to put heavy items close to your back and down low in the pack. That's because if you place them high up and outside, they act as a counterbalance, pulling your weight backwards, and you have to work against that all day. One item in particular that you want to have close to your back is your water. This is one of the densest items you carry, and so I like that on my Osprey pack, there's a dedicated water sleeve between the harness and the pack. That allows me to keep that weight close to my back and gives me easy access to the water throughout the day when I need to refill. Another thing to keep in mind as you load your pack is keeping the load balanced. So for instance, if you put a heavy item on one side of your pack, you need something else to counterbalance it on the other. You don't want a load that lifts to one side or the other and puts uneven weight on your hips and body. The other thing you want to keep in mind as you load your pack is ease of access to your gear. There are certain items that you'll need to get to throughout the day, and you want to put those things near the top of your pack. For instance, your sleeping bag is a heavy item that you don't need throughout the day, so it makes sense to put that in the bottom of your pack. By contrast, things like your lunch food and snacks, your rain gear, and your toiletries, you might need to get to quickly throughout the day. So put those in the top of your pack or on the outside, somewhere where you can access them quickly. You don't want to be caught out in a rainstorm, digging through your pack down to the bottom to get your rain jacket and pants out. So try to keep those two factors in balance as you load your pack, placing heavy, dense items close to your back and low in the pack, but also keeping the things that you'll need ready access to in available compartments, such as the hood or outside pockets. Once you've got your pack loaded, the next thing you want to do is use the compression straps to pull the load in tight. I used to neglect this step until Sunshine showed me the error of my ways, because it makes a huge difference to pull the load in tight. You can imagine that if everything's hanging out, you're being pulled backwards off your center of gravity. By using these straps to tighten the load and pull it close to your center of gravity, you'll make a huge difference in how the load carries and how you feel throughout the day. With your pack loaded and cinched down, it's time to put it on your back. Now, the idea of a backpacking pack is to focus the load on your hips so that the weight is carried on your hips rather than your back and shoulders. So the first thing I do when mounting my backpack is I loosen the shoulder straps a little bit so that they're not carrying all the weight. I'll then pull the hip belt up onto my iliac crests. Those are the bones that jut out of your hips. With the hip belt situated there, I'll tighten it down until I can feel most of the weight and load resting on my hips. Now you can see that in this position the backpack is canted back away from my back. So then I'll use these load lifter straps to pull it in tight, and with those tightened down, I'll tighten my shoulder straps until they're comfortably tight. I don't want them so tight that they're pulling on my muscles or I can't move. Just enough to control the load. And lastly, I'll fasten my chest harness. With that done, the pack weight should be close to your back and focused on your hips, and you should be ready to go.